This is the LaCUE Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana, 2017. The LaCUE Conference stands for the Louisiana Association of Computer Using Educators. We have teachers from all over the state of Louisiana coming down to attend the conference. We have reached probably 1,500 to 2,000 educators that have traveled from everywhere from Shreveport, Baton Rouge, all the way down to New Orleans to be a part of the conference and share ideas with one another about how they're using education technology in their classrooms. AXI Education Solutions is a Louisiana-based company. We are based out of Mandeville, and we have been in business for just over 10 years. And we are an educational technology provider. We provide teachers with solutions, proven solutions that really impact the way teaching and learning happens in their class. Our primary product line at AXI is Promethean. So we work with Promethean to really refresh panels, interactive flat panels, in many of the classrooms throughout the state. So those teachers that are used to and students that are used to using interactive whiteboards, that technology is certainly outdated, and we are going in and working in their classrooms to put in interactive flat panels that have a lifetime last of about 50,000 hours. So certainly very future-proof investment. We also are working very hard to diversify our product lines, and we are creating an entire STEM product line, and something that we can really work with our students in their maker spaces. So we offer Spheros, Little Bits, the Parrot drones, Sam Labs, the Tier Time 3D printers, and a variety of other companies that really fit together proven solutions that help the students really think about where they're going and the jobs that they're going to encounter post their K-12 experience.
What you're looking at behind me is a cage that we built because we are programming, coding, and flying drones. And so we don't want anybody to get hurt, so we built the cage so that we can fly the drones inside of it. This is up and down. And then this is your direction. So forward, back, left, right.
Okay, so I need to go up.
You're doing it, girl. You're doing it, girl.
And then I need to go through. Ah!
It's okay. You did good. You did good.
Opposite direction.
When people think of programming and coding, they often program and code lights or sounds or little robots. Well, we've reached a point in education where we can learn to code and program drones.
Full speed ahead.
Oh, the battery's about to die, so go for it, girl.
Woo!
All right!
Yeah!
It's like I was holding my breath.
That is fun.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Drones make it a little bit more convenient for deliveries. They make it convenient to survey landscapes. They make it convenient to canvass after natural disasters, who's hurt, who isn't hurt. So naturally, I see coding with drones moving forward as a future career for kids. It's a big wow factor because the coding people are already doing on computers. They're programming things and they're making lights go off and on, but the big wow is to watch something fly based upon what you programmed.
I'm a fifth grade teacher. I teach science and social studies, and I just flew the drone for AXI, and it was so much fun. It's if I find it fun, imagine what my fifth graders are going to think. It's exciting. It teaches you, you're using technology. So.
What kind of lessons can you build around this for your science students?
Oh my goodness, real world. Welcome to being a pilot. Welcome to being an engineer, STEM, any kind of hand-eye coordination. It's hard to get them to turn their eyeballs of the drone the right way to make sure they're going. They're having to use some kind of skill, definitely.
Tell us, what role does AXI play in helping teachers adapt to new technology?
Well, it's definitely easy. It's fun. It makes me want to learn, and of course it's going to make my kids want to learn. So the role that it would play would, anything. I could use this for my entire science curriculum, especially now that they're moving to STEM.
10 years teaching experience. I'm a first grade iTech and Tech Showcase teacher, and I think it's absolutely awesome. We already start with coding with Scratch and Tinker, and the drone would definitely bring my coding education to a higher level.
You teach first grade. What kind of lesson plans could you build around the drone?
To teach it to do just the coding to make it move left, right, turn around, all of those little coding steps that I'm teaching them right now, they can do that with the drone.
What kind of a partner has AXI been for your school?
Oh, an awesome partner. I know that they help me with just resources that I need for my classroom with my new active panel that are to support me and give me new ideas to use all of those active table, my panel, and then also all of the other AXI equipment that I have in my classroom.
What I'm holding in my hand right here is a Spiro ball. What it does, it is a robotic ball that students control with an iPad or any device with the Spiro EDU app. And the way we use it in our classroom is for fact fluency. One of the activities we do is I put all of the either answers or math equations on the floor on note cards, and I have students in 4 groups, and each group has a Spiro, and I will shout out one of the answer, either a problem that goes with the answer on the floor or an answer that goes with the problem on the floor. And the first group that controls their Spiro or codes it into that correct answer gets points, rather than just have fact fluency of shouting out 9 times 3 and they shout out the answer, or trying to get them to do it quickly on a piece of paper. Timed fact fluency, it gets students more engaged. The students absolutely love it. We actually had to take 2 days for them just to kind of play with it to get that out of the way, and then go into it with actual educational purposes. But every day when they come into class, it's like when they see them out on the table, or we get to use the Spiros, they are so excited to use them. They love it.
Another educational tool is this lab disc. And in the math classroom, I wanted my students to collect their own data instead of just reading about it in a textbook. And the lab disc makes that real simple by incorporating a variety of sensors based on which focus you have, such as general science, physics, and so on. So the students are able to collect their own data to use in math and science classes.
How valuable a tool is this?
This actually really brings real life to what they are doing instead of just reading it. So if they're collecting their own data, they have, well, even if it's just temperature, at least they are collecting it themselves and they have a true application of real life.
What kind of response have you seen from the students and the teachers?
Oh, the students love it. I had a group on Evie, our educational bus, a while back, and they were experiencing this through their own eyes, just with direction through task cards. So the challenge was to explore temperature, and all they knew was that they couldn't put the temperature probe in their mouth and that they were using this lab disc. So they figured out how to take their temperature, but they didn't quite understand change. But after they watched a little video and looked at a couple of the resources, they were really excited because they said, oh, we can heat it up. And that's how they started exploring what it meant for the molecules to speed up, slow down, etc.
What we're showing teachers today is our PiTop units, Raspberry Pi powered laptops and desktops. It basically teaches kids how to code and develop. We have physical computing aspects as far as text-based coding and block-based coding. And so the premise is to help students become computer literate from 0 to 60. With our units, our PiTop units, you can basically break into our systems and play with the hardware. A big part of computing is the lack of accessing the hardware, accessing the PCB or the printed circuit board. So a lot of consumer products out there, you just deal with software. With PiTop, you have a combination of programming, developing in the software, and then that translates to the hardware component.
What advantages does that have for the students?
So for the advantage of the student, you get that trial and error aspect of it. So you have to consider for a moment, if you're just working in kind of a text-based editor or something like that, you memorize it, you forget it, and you have this kind of coding exercise. With PiTop, you have a very physical, tangible component, which allows you to kind of anchor what you're learning and how you're building. The ability to watch a student build something, write some code, light up a light, you're not going to get that with anything else, and so very, very exciting.
I teach 1st through 5th grade Makerspace and 6th through 8th digital learning classes in Scott, Louisiana. And
what did you learn here today?
I learned about the PiTop. It makes the Raspberry Pi a little more user-friendly for students and learning computer coding and such.
How important is technology to the students?
It's very important. That's close to everything I teach. So that's very important.
AXI has a number of education solutions for integrating STEM in your classroom as well as throughout your district, such as Little Bits, where you can bring real-world application into your classroom in the palm of their hand. Well, there's a variety of items to help you build. So for simplistic reasons, you could take a battery, attach it to, say, a light, and they can create a light. But then you can also control the light by placing a push button in between the two. They can build fans, robots. It's really, the possibilities are endless.
Describe what we're seeing in this video for Little Bits.
The student looks like they are working on building a robot. So you'll notice everything is powered by a battery, and they are building using the different Little Bit kits for their own robotics. This is extremely valuable. It brings real-world application into the classroom. They are having to use critical thinking skills in order to, instead of being told what to learn, actually experience what to learn.
What we're showing the teachers today is a smart construction kit that helps children learn about programming, coding, computational thinking. It's a very easy way to get started. It's making with electronics, but combined with software. What you're watching here right now is actually a project that helps understand smartwatches and everyday technology and how we replicate it in the classroom. So building and prototyping our own inventions in the classroom. And here we have a wonderful video that shows using code and drag and drop blocks to make your own smartwatch. And so we have all the instructions for that, along with curriculum that's mapped to NGSS standards, all online for free for anybody to download, to manipulate, or use in their classrooms in whichever way they like, actually.
What kind of response have you had from students and teachers?
So we actually have a great response, because who doesn't love learning off YouTube? We actually have videos both for teachers that are instructional. So we have tutorials on how to run a lesson plan. So great responses there. But the physical copy as well if they want it. And then for the students, as you can see, we have a lot of the content that actually makes it fun and exciting for students to build something. So it's not just something boring, it's something really engaging and fun. And as we heard earlier, 1% engagement increase can actually increase the overall class productiveness by a lot.
I noticed that she's got some robotics there. How valuable is that information for students to learn hands-on as opposed to taking it out of a textbook?
So we really focus on project-based learning. So how do we replicate things that are actually important out there in the world, and how do we get kids thinking about things such as Internet of Things, things such as coding, making, electronics. We want to give them 21st century skills, and the way that we do that is through a hands-on, fun way of learning. So it's learning with your hands, of course, is a great way to remember, but it's also about collaboration and getting kids to work together towards a common goal that actually means something out there in the world.
What kind of response have you had from the teachers that have come to the booth today?
Teachers are loving it. We saw that through the session. They found it really unique that it's wireless, that it's very robust, that kids can't destroy it. The fact that the lesson plans are super easy to read and implement in the classroom, and the fact that it's very seamless and intuitive the way the app works with the blocks. So the feedback has been positive on those fronts. The other thing that's been really exciting is teachers love to build just as much as the students.
I was a teacher for 21 years, and I wish I would have had a 3D printer in my classroom, whether creating modules for science or different artifacts in history, or my favorite, math. You can work on proportional skills where the students are creating things.
How does it work?
Basically, it uses a filament, and then you are able to print things like you would with paper, except for it's 3D.
What do the students learn by doing this?
Well, there's a lot of things that they learn, but one of them is really working with scale and proportions because they don't quite understand going from the computer to the actual printer of how what something looks like as far as measurement is concerned. What you are looking at now is a carriage with wheels to incorporate the 3D printing along with robotics. So you could use this with your Little Bits or maybe some robotics that you already have. And this is just one of many applications where you can use the 3D printer.
Today's session was digital literacy across the curriculum, and the goal really is for teachers to learn strategies that make technology natural in the classroom. So it's smooth when they use technology.
What advantages does that have for the students?
For the students, when a teacher uses technology naturally, it makes technology background noise. And the students can focus on being more creative and collaborating more rather than the teacher being afraid of handing out computers and iPads.
How does AXI help the teachers in this capacity?
At AXI, we make everything practical and meaningful. Our entire professional development team is former Louisiana educators. So we give expert anecdotes, expert experience, and we make everything approachable in small, meaningful chunks.
I teach 5th grade at Ascension Parish, math and science, and I just attended the digital literacy across curriculum.
What did you learn here today?
We were learning about some different extensions on Google, apps, docs, some trainers, and most importantly, how to be a great digital citizen with the Interland created by Google. We're going to be getting our students on that very quickly.
How has AXI helped you in the classroom?
We're using a lot of the tools that we've learned from AXI and using different resources for different subjects, skills, so that they're more matched to what the students are learning.
I teach 2nd grade at Our Lady of Perpetual Help School. It's a little Catholic school in Plaquemines Parish. And today I learned a lot about safety tutorial videos to show the kids using different websites and doing online activities, and also a lot of websites with fun practice games and activities for the kids.
How has AXI helped you in the classroom?
Just given me a lot of tools and resources that I can bring back to make learning fun and responsible for the kids.
I work with grades 3 through 5 in the computer lab.
What did you learn in this session today?
A lot of different apps I want to take back to use in the computer lab with the kids, especially the last one he talked about, the keeping safe on the computers, because at our school, the kids are just getting introduced to computers. They got Chromebooks, so this is the first year, and they don't know a lot about it. So I would love to take that back and work with them on being safe on the internet.
Our presentation today is about the Active Connect G that comes on all of the active panels, and basically how to use the different apps on the Android device to just make your room more engaging and your students more active in learning.
What kind of results have you seen from this?
Oh, it's tremendous results. So we have them all over the state, and the teachers are just loving them. The kids are enjoying them. The teachers are just enjoying that they don't have to have their laptops anymore plugged to all their boards, that instead that they can run everything off of this device, especially if they're Google.
I've learned a lot about how I can integrate my active board without necessarily having to use my computer. And man, that was great. That was awesome. And I learned about a lot of different apps to help to keep my kids engaged, and and I teach science. Even without the smell, we can do it virtually now. And man, that was awesome.
How does AXI help you in the classroom?
Oh man, it's one of the greatest tools that I've ever used, and I thank God for AXI.
I attended the session with the apps, with the active panel, and how to use some of the favorite apps.
What did you learn here today that you can take back to your classroom?
My favorite app was it's called the Active Cast. Although I have it on my board, I just didn't quite know how to use it, where you can display the student work.
How does the technology help your students learn?
Motivation, and it's interactive, very interactive.
On the active panel and the Active Connect and all of the apps that can be used on it.
What did you think of it?
I love it. All of the different apps that are not Apple that can be used on it. I learned about the Active Connect, which is the new one that can be used with the different Google apps and things like that.
I teach 1st grade, and we have one-to-one Chromebooks at my school in Lafayette.
How does the technology help the students learn?
The technology obviously helps engage learners and motivate them, assess data, drive their data, and of course get them excited about their learning.
What did you learn here today to take it back to your classroom?
Well, I just spoke with the presenter again, and she told me about another fun casting app that she didn't even talk about in her presentation, but lots of different apps that are free and easy to upload, and it'll really get our learners engaged and motivated.
The topic of my session is feedback plus Google. It's important because feedback is essential in a classroom for students to understand their misconceptions and where they're going with their learning. So using the Google tools that you have in the Google Suite really allow teachers to engage students in feedback, give students feedback, and engage students in giving their peers feedback in the classroom.
What kind of results have you seen from this?
It's been a huge impact whenever I was in the classroom using these tools with my students because they were able to get immediate and effective feedback instead of 2 or 3 days later me grading an exit ticket because I couldn't get it back to them the next day. Now I can immediately see it, or I can assign it to their peers to give them feedback, and it's quick and they can turn around and change whatever their misconceptions were right then and there.
How has AXI made you a better teacher when you were in the classroom?
Oh gosh, I mean, now I know that there's just a plethora of tools that I can engage myself and my students in just to make things easier. You know, things that I was doing that took, hours now can just take minutes. So there's definitely opened my eyes to what's out there for ed tech.
I've taught for 15 years. I taught first grade for 11 years, and now I work with ESL, and I train teachers on ways that they can integrate different tools in the classroom to help their students.
What have you learned here today at the AXI education booth that'll help you bring more technology information back to your classroom?
Well, there's so many great tools. For instance, ClassFlow is something that we can use, especially in our one-to-one classrooms where the kids we can send specific stuff to individual kids and differentiate in the classroom, and then they can send it back to us and we can take a look at it individually or to the whole class and work together.
How supportive has AXI been for your school system and your teachers?
We love a lot of the AXI products. We know anytime we need anything, we can get in touch with somebody that's willing to help, and the booth's here. I look forward to looking at the different products that they have to offer.
I've been teaching for 14 years. I teach 5th grade self-contained at Shenandoah Elementary in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I teach gifted students all day long, same kids, and we use technology as much as we can embedded with the different content areas that I'm required to teach. I would like to say that I'm a STEAM classroom, and I feel that without technology and the tools that I have written many grants for, like a 3D printer, robotics, a drone, Breakout EDU, cue ball, all of the different new innovative ideas, my students wouldn't be as engaged in my content areas as they are. So, and technology really motivates my students. They want to come to school because they have access to all of these neat devices and innovative tools.
What have you seen here at the AXI booth that would benefit your students in the classroom?
Well, the pie top is one thing that I think is part of the AXI booth. I would love to have one in my classroom. I think my students would be engaged because it's got a lot of problem-solving opportunities, task-based learning, teamwork opportunities, things they can teach each other and learn from each other. And I also see behind me some spheros and looks like different robotics tools. I have an Ozobot and I have a set of 4 in my classroom. My students are always very engaged and motivated to be a part of something and teach others when the tools are so new that they feel like it's cutting edge and it's something that it's a special opportunity for them. You don't usually see that in a lot of classrooms. You see textbooks open, you see paper out, and in my classroom you see technology everywhere. Chromebooks one-to-one. Everything I have, I give to them and ask them to run. I don't run the 3D printer, they do. So those opportunities are what motivate my students to come to school every day excited to learn.
I'm a 6th grade teacher at Tedgebahoe Parish at Independence Magnet. Technology is the direction that we need to go preparing our students for the future. I mean, I understand reading and writing is important, but technology is where the future is, especially in science. And that's why I think things like STEM is very important, understanding technology and students being able to be the future for our nation as far as technology based and being innovators.
What have you seen here at the AXI booth that would benefit your classroom?
I mean, I could be all day explaining that, but I mean, it's various amount of things, just little simple things like just being around technology, getting your attention, and wanting to be a part of something like this because you can see the growth in the technology compared to when I was a kid.
What have you learned here today that you can bring back to your classroom?
Oh my goodness. I have a brain overload when it comes to that, but there's a lot of things. I mean, just the basics of what's important for our future, for our students. A lot of hands-on things that can keep their attention, and a lot of things that can probably help me innovate my classroom as well, personally.
I teach 8th grade science in Ascension Parish, and I presented with my coworker Vanessa, and we did 15 tech tools to engage students in science and math.
How effective has that been for your classroom and your students?
It has students totally engaged in your lesson. They love technology now anyway, so they are always willing to do something on their technology.
What about the support that AXI offers?
Wonderful training, hands-on activities. They come in and help you with your specific needs, things that we can use the next day in our classrooms and for our students.
What have you learned here today that you're going to take back to your classroom?
Well, lots of things to use on Google Slides where students can interact with each other and collaborate together in science and math.
I teach 2nd grade math and science. This is actually my first year teaching. I came to the AXI booth today because I just sat in a session to learn more about how I can incorporate this in my classroom, and I was very interested to come and learn even more.
What did you learn here today that you can take back to the students?
I learned that all of these hands-on, very innovative pieces are linked to standards, and that I could take this learning and very easily incorporate this into my classroom and make this very hands-on for my students in a way to make them problem solvers rather than just giving them instruction and telling them how. It's more of them figuring it out and problem solving for themselves.
I've been in education for 21 years. I taught elementary school and then moved into the middle school. I am principal at Franklinton Junior High in Washington Parish, and I believe that technology keeps the students engaged. It keeps them in real life because that is what they're used to with the gamification and being interactive with each other, not only with their teachers but in collaboration with their peers.
What did you learn here at the AXI booth today?
Well, we have been looking at the connectors and the robotics type items, and we're looking into hopefully maybe getting a class in robotics to help our kids because that's where it's moving to.
What kind of a partner has AXI been for your school system?
We currently have the Promethean boards in several of our classrooms, and in January AXI is coming to our district to do a staff development using the Google Classroom.
We're always interested in new technology. We have a programming class there. It's a Java programming class. And I'm interested in the PyTop and the Raspberry Pi.
Tell us, what did you learn here today that you can bring back to your school?
Well, there's a version of a laptop. There's a desktop and a laptop that it's a PyTop it's called, and it's not as expensive as a regular laptop, and it's made with opening cases on it so you can actually see the inside workings. And there's a kit of design parts, electrical parts and things that you can actually program with and see the results of your program that you've written.
How valuable would that be for your students?
That would be extremely valuable for them to learn the basics of programming. Just how those things work. Just a different way of thinking.
I'm a former 6th grade teacher. I've been an administrator for 14 years now. I'm the supervisor of technology.
And there's a lot of technology here. What have you seen at the AXI booth that can help students learn in your parish?
Oh, at the AXI booth, there's lots of wonderful things. I like the little spheros, the lab disc.
What kind of a partner has AXI been to help your school?
We have a lot of panels. We've also gotten training with Miss Kelly and some of the others. Marcus has been wonderful. We love ClassFlow.
What did you learn here that you can take back to your classroom?
So far, I've learned about data and heat maps and how the heat maps can help get the data in the hands of our teachers instead of just in the hands of the administrators. I'm also looking forward to the escape room to see how that works.
I have taught math and science for over 24 years to third and fourth graders in Ascension Parish.
And why'd you come to the AXI booth today?
Because they have a lot of very inventive technology that's fun, that we like to integrate in the curriculum. They're linked to standards, and it helps us teachers be able to combine technology and the standards in a way that is innovative for kids, where they're problem solving and we're not just giving them the information, they're able to find it on their own.
And what kind of results does that have for the students?
Oh my gosh, they become lifelong problem solvers. They excel in everything they do. They have the ability to look at a problem, and instead of shutting down because they don't know the answer right away, they continue to attack that problem until they find a solution that works.
How helpful has AXI been to your school district?
Very helpful. We use it in a lot of different formats in our classroom, a lot of different products in the classrooms all over, and it really helps us bridge the gap between kind of the old school learning and the new technology. That's just great.
I've been teaching for 31 years. I teach 6th grade math, science, and social studies, and I came to the LaCUE conference this year. And mainly I wanted to beef up on some STEM projects, as well as I just got reacquainted with Promethean again with my school district. So I wanted to get an update on what the new Promethean products would be and all of the different add-ons that they had now that were not available last time I was in the line for a smart type product.
What have you learned here at the AXI booth that you can take back to your classroom?
I learned a lot about the different parts that tie into the STEM products that are available, and I will definitely be taking those back to my director and asking for a lot of funding so that we can purchase these things, because it would be incredible for the kids to be able to work with this and explore and broaden their knowledge.
How much of an educational partner has AXI been to your school system?
They are instrumental in most school systems. I have been at this school system for 7 years, but in my previous one, they were the team partner we had for 20 plus years, and it's just been, very, very instrumental in getting all of the technology we need.
I've been a classroom teacher for 30 years. I have taught all grades from 3-year-olds up through 8th grade. We have been customers of AXI at the school I am currently at for the past 15 years or so. We have Promethean boards in every classroom from 1st grade through the 7th graders now, and our teachers use them daily. We use them in all of our subjects, even including art. We have used them, they have increased our students' motivation. Our students love to use the Promethean boards themselves. They go up to the Promethean boards all the time. Our teachers love them as a way to enhance what they are teaching in the classroom, where they used to have to show things on like an overhead projector or on a film strip projector. They can do it all with one touch, one click. It's so much easier, so much quicker, so the students are constantly remaining in touch with what they're doing. There's no loss of time in there. The teachers they also use ClassFlow now as a way to send their lessons to the students on their one-to-one that we have with their Chromebooks. The teachers like that aspect of it as well. And again, like I did mention, the art teacher is even using some of the AXI products. We use a document camera that we have received from AXI, and the teachers love that because they can show the dissection of a frog that way. Our teachers are just constantly using all of our AXI products on a daily basis.
I just attended the AXI seminar on how to use ClassFlow and the new Promethean boards within my classroom.
How do you think this would help your students learn?
I think this will help my students learn because they will be able to be more involved within the lesson with the touch and drag features versus me just standing at the front of this board using my flip chart pen to move along within the lessons.
What has AXI meant to your school in terms of being able to help teachers with technology?
We have definitely been able to implement more technology within our lessons with the use of Chromebooks and of ClassFlow within our lessons. I'm just starting on trying to implement more ClassFlow lessons within my classroom, and this seminar helped me learn more about how to look for lessons that are already created within the marketplace.
I'm a first-year teacher at Faraday Junior High School in Concordia Parish. I just attended a AXI seminar and I learned about classroom flow. I learned how it could be a helpful tool for giving instruction virtually to the 31 plus students I see in the 4 periods I teach every day. I learned a lot about the assessments that you can create from classroom flow and the engaging activities that would allow for my students not only to learn but to enjoy learning in my classroom.
I started teaching about 25 years ago. I've been teaching for 16 years, but now I'm a principal. Just came out of the ClassFlow and super excited because we have Prometheans from 2nd grade all the way to 5th grade at my school. We are one-to-one Chromebooks from 2nd grade to 5th grade. So very excited about the engagement that ClassFlow offers. Love the fact that you can quickly have the Chromebooks on the desk and have activities and polls that you shoot out to the students. Lots of information right there at your resources with Marketplace and resources. So very excited about taking this back to my school and presenting it to my teachers.
I am Kathy Lowry from Lincoln Parish. I teach at Shudron High School in Shudron, Louisiana. I'm a business education teacher. I am going to the AXI session today, and we have the Promethean boards in our classrooms, and we use those all the time, incorporating the Microsoft Word and showing the examples through the Promethean board.
How has that helped your students learn?
Oh, always interactive is much better to them. They like to get up and actually use the touch screens, and that helps them remember, and then they can carry it back to their computers and use that way.
What kind of a partner has AXI been in the classroom?
Oh, they're excellent. We've incorporated, like I said, those in there. And anytime we need customer support, we just pick up the phone, give them a call, or do a chat online, and they are always willing to help us.
For about 12 years, and I am teaching social studies, Louisiana history, and what I learned from this one, the class flow, is how to implement that into my subject of Louisiana history and how to involve the entire class, not just a few students at a time, but how to teach them and how to get them to respond back to me so I can see if they are understanding the material, if they're grasping it. It's a good way to kind of evaluate and kind of journey with them and for them to visually see what I am trying to teach and be all on literally the same page.
I taught in the classroom for 5 years, social studies and science. Currently I'm serving as a district supervisor. One of the benefits from this session that I just took away was to be able to go back to my district and share hundreds of resources from the ClassFlow platform with teachers and to be able to put that in the hands of students.
How have students in your school system benefited from the technology that AXI offers?
Well, the number one thing is that it's increased engagement. Students are happy to come to school. They're excited about doing activities in the classrooms. They're engaged, and that's helped us with retention of content.
I've had a long and varied career. I was a high school librarian. I was a technology coordinator, and now I'm an elementary librarian again. And it's really the kinds of things that you're showing today or that I'm learning about today are tools that can be used by kids in the future who I'm now working with. So it's the same skills I'm teaching about, looking for information, judging information, communicating, but now I'm able to use the tools that the kids will be using or the kids use in order to apply them to their lives and what they need in the future.
I've been teaching for 21 years. I teach chemistry and physics, and what I love about the active board with the AXI products is that I get to actually write on the board, and I send that exact thing that I wrote home to the students so they can see it that night and see what I did on the board.
What kind of a benefit has this had for the students?
Well, for one thing, if a student is absent, they can actually see what I did in class that day because it's on the website.
What kind of a partner has AXI been for you in the classroom?
I tell you what amazes me with AXI, when we order something from them, they're freaky fast on getting it delivered to us. And I really like the way that we can count on them to be there as fast as they can be.
I teach first grade, and this is my 11th year teaching. I use the Promethean board all day, every day in my classroom. The kids always come up to the board to do things. They get very excited to do it. I let them know ahead of time to come up that they have to be paying attention, and so as soon as I say that, I'm like, okay, it's your turn to come and do stuff. You hear them all, sit down with their hands down. So it's really changed teaching for me.
How has AXI been as a partner for you in the classroom?
Oh, they've been fantastic. If I ever need anything, they're there for support and to help me through making my flip charts and coming up with new ideas.
I've been teaching 17 years, and I teach algebra in all the business classes at St. Landry Parish.
What is the value of technology as you see it?
The value of technology, it helps to bridge the gap between old school way of teaching with the new school way of teaching, to kind of simulate and give kids hands-on opportunity to apply the applications that have been learned.
How does technology help you teach mathematics and algebra?
Technology helps me. It helps me to manipulate the problems. It helps me to send a lot of things home where the kids can do, apply, simulate, and reaffirm what they learn.
I've taught for 11 years, and I teach literature and English language, and so I think technology is a cornerstone of our educational system, and it should be. If you look at the ISTE standards, the student standards, those ISTE standards, it's all about being empowered learners and digital citizenship and knowledge constructors, and so I try to have as much authentic learning with education as possible.
What have you learned here today and seen that you'd like to be able to take back to your classroom?
I've seen a lot of great makerspaces. Dr. Tammy Seneca has done a great job with the makerspaces, both with the cardboard challenges as well as with the coding and with the robots. I am just so proud to be part of the Louisiana Computer Using Education Society, because I think it's so important that we bring those educational tenets to technology and have them interact with each other.
I have been an educator for 3 years. I teach in Washington Parish at Franklinton Junior High. I teach 6th and 8th grade history, 6th grade world history, 8th grade Louisiana history, and I use my Promethean board daily. I make up flip charts, which makes it interactive to where my kids can come up and interactively move and put certain definitions by certain vocabulary words. I've inquired Google Earth, to where we can see the different changes in certain environments around the world, as well as historical societies, and it's just been really effective in my day-to-day teaching both 6th and 8th grade.
I've been teaching 17 years in Terrebonne Parish. I teach U.S. history and AP psychology, and I've come to learn that technology has become very important in the classroom for students to get a hands-on experience in learning the material presented.
What have you learned here that you'll be able to take back to the classroom?
I've learned many different apps that students can use in the classroom to make their presentations more interactive, to broaden their skills in using technology.
I am a first-year teacher from Cancro Catholic in Lafayette Parish, and I'm on my way to the AXI booth, and I'd like to check out the smart boards and all the other technology that's down there.
What kind of benefits would that have for your students?
I feel like kids today really want to get interactive with technology. They'd like to just get up there and have the ability to touch a screen and do this and that, all the little games and puzzles and stuff that could be on a smart board. So I would like to find a way to incorporate that.
As a former classroom teacher, we have seen tremendous results in terms of engagement by utilizing this kind of technology in our classrooms. We know that just by increasing student engagement by 1% really improves test scores by about 6 points. And when you think about something like that, you don't need a whole lot of research to know that if we can just get our kids engaged in what they're learning, they learn more. When they can be interested and they can have fun with their learning, we know that their outcomes improve. So we're really passionate about making the education experience for our students really mimic their lives outside of the classroom, and really hope that what they're learning is not something that they just are putting into their short short-term memory. It's something that stays there and it's meaningful for them throughout their entire lives.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
If people have questions and need more information, they can always visit our website, www.axiedu.com, or contact their local teaching and learning consultant throughout the state. We'll be happy to help you.